Making this Loki video inspired me to find a way to make my own clones. And I did it. Was it ethical? Don't worry about it. But now I have so much more free time. My clones are doing all the annoying busy work I never wanted to do. They're waiting in line at the DMV. One of my clones deals with all the spam calls I've been getting. I even have a clone that's a food taster to make sure I'm not getting poisoned. And I even have a clone editing this video right now. So now I have all the free time in the world to do more important things. Oh man, what a day. So, how's the video coming, clone? Ah! A little over a month ago, I made a poll asking you which Marvel Rivals hero you wanted me to make a video on next. And Loki got a majority of the votes. And then I kinda broke my arm. So the video got delayed. And now it's here. Loki is a strategist and one of the few villains in Marvel Rivals. And he has personally my favorite voice line in all of Marvel Rivals. I quote it all the time, even out of context. Your god is suffering. And I know he can be a bit tricky to play, so before I teach you how to play Loki, let's learn his backstory. Born the son of Loki, king of the Frost Giants, Loki was adopted by Odin and raised as a prince of Asgard. Growing up, he was always jealous of his half-brother Thor, because Thor was strong, brave, and noble, traits that Asgardians hold high, and traits that Loki lacked. So he made up for this by focusing on science and magic, and would end up using his powers for mischief and pranks, earning himself the name the God of Mischief. And eventually he became the strongest sorcerer in Asgard. He yearned for more power, and to become the ruler of Asgard. But since his brother Thor was always next in the line of succession, that meant he would devise plans to kill Thor many times in the comics. However, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and other comics, Loki becomes more of an anti-hero who redeems himself. Seriously, his show is so underrated, you gotta watch it. It's like one of the few good Marvel TV shows. But in the Marvel Rivals timeline, Odin was on a deep sleep called... No way. Odin sleep? That just seems so uncreative. Anyways, so while his dad was sleeping, he enlisted his daughter Hela to trap Thor in a distant timeline. And now he's harvesting Cornivium sap from the world tree, Yggdrasil, which is essentially the plot of what's happening on that map. Also, yes, in this game, Hela is Loki's daughter, unlike the movies where she's Loki and Thor's older sister. They do have a sister though, named Angela, who I have never heard of before, but they just announced that she's gonna be one of the new heroes alongside Daredevil while I was making this video. So expect Angela for Noobs next week. For now, you got her little brother to worry about. Okay, so that's a bit of Loki's lore. So now that you know who Loki is, let's learn how to play him, shall we? Loki's main attack is the Mystical Missile. You shoot projectiles out of Loki's staff. It does 30 damage to enemies or heals 40 damage to your teammates, and it has a little bit of an explosive radius to it. And while this weapon does seem like it doesn't do that much damage, it can secure kills, especially when you pair it with his first main ability, Doppelganger. This allows for Loki to project an illusion, aka a clone, and you can have up to 2 clones at a maximum distance of 30 meters. Now these clones will look exactly like you, even if you have a specific skin on, but more importantly, they will shoot at whatever target you're shooting at. So whoever you aim at, they'll try their best to aim at them too. So this turns what would have been kind of weak damage into pretty strong damage when you have multiple clones out. Because if the clones have line of sight on your opponent, you can essentially dish up to 90 damage per shot. So if the enemies are all clustered up next to you, you can rack up a ton of damage if your clones can see them. But Loki's staff can also do a ton of damage from across the map as well. Seriously, the amount of times you'll just randomly get kills or get a kill from across the map, it happens more than you think. But more importantly, because you are a strategist, if your clones can see your teammate, you can heal a ton of health, especially when your team is all clustered up. So the clones kind of act like a turret, and unfortunately that means that the clones can be destroyed. But because the cooldown is relatively short, you always end up having some clones out in a pinch, especially when you pair it with his next ability, Deception. This allows for Loki to become invisible, and a clone will spawn in your place. And while you're invisible, you'll gain 20 health per second. This is Loki's main way of escaping a fight. Loki doesn't really have much mobility, so you have to use the clones to your advantage. And Deception does that. When an enemy tries to dive you, you can use the Deception to get away and then surprise motherfucker right behind them and get a clean kill. This ability also helps you get away from big ultimates because the enemy might think they're killing you, but it's actually now a clone. Haha, you ain't a clone, idiot. But on top of the Deception ability, you also have the ability Devious Exchange, which allows for you to swap with the selected illusion. Now, this is your main way of actually getting out alive, because while you're invisible, you can still accidentally get shot, but it's very difficult for them to immediately know that you teleported to a different clone. It's what makes killing Loki really hard. You can teleport to escape a fight, or you can teleport mid-fight and even get a kill.
Few moments later.
The area's under control. Loki here. I outnumber you.
One of the cool parts about this ability is that you can actually teleport through walls as long as you're within the 30-meter range. So if you have a Loki clone that's just chilling behind a wall, it might be the reason that you survive. But Loki is a strategist, and your goal is to support your team. And thankfully, Loki has one of the best support abilities ever, and that's Regeneration Domain. You use runes to create a magical field on you and your illusions that provides allies healing and converts incoming damage into further healing. So what that means is that until they destroy the rune, you're essentially invulnerable. This ability is like a mini support ultimate. You can save your entire team from a big enemy ultimate just by using this ability. I do recommend that before you use this ability, you have at least one clone out that's near your team, because you get a rune for each clone, so you might as well have all of them out. One of the clever ways to use this ability is to spawn a clone next to your teammate and then use the runes, which can save your teammates in a pinch. But if this ability is on cooldown, it can be pretty difficult for Loki to survive a ton of incoming damage. Loki technically has another ability, which is his backstab. His melee is stronger if you're attacking people from behind. It's not as strong as the Spy from Team Fortress. It just does 45 damage in the back. It does come up, but a lot of the time, you want to play Loki from a distance, honestly. And finally, we have Loki's ultimate, the God of Mischief. This allows for you to shapeshift into a targeted ally or enemy hero and use all of their abilities, including their ultimate. This doesn't include team-up abilities though, so make note of that. Now this ultimate can be any ultimate, so its use really does vary. And while it's super fun to just take a DPS ultimate and just go to town with a few kills,
Your powers are mine!
I had to do it. That was the best Loki ult ever. Oh no, it's not the best! You'll probably get a lot more value getting a really broken Vanguard ultimate like Doctor Strange, or saving your team with the support ultimate. Like sure, sometimes I'll steal an ultimate because I just want to wear that skin for a few seconds. It's important to be strategic when you use this ultimate. But I get it, we all just want to play Spider-Man. So if you want to just use DPS ultimates exclusively, go ham, dude, that's your prerogative. Just make sure that you know how to play that character before you use that ultimate, you noob. And also make sure you're looking directly at the character you want to copy from, because you'll accidentally get somebody else, and...
Your powers are mine!
Oh no, wait, I used the wrong one.
Again!
You guys are spawning, right?
Yeah, you're respawning.
We spawned the Magneto again once more.
That was beautiful.
He knows that we rest him twice. I am not a clone. So listen to these pro tips. Number 1, Loki does have a team up with Mantis that gives teammates within his runes an extra damage boost. So I do think he does pair well with Mantis. However, I do think Loki fits better in triple support compositions. The reason being is that Loki does not have a defensive ultimate. So if you're only running 2 supports, you're kind of forced to use the defensive ultimate with Loki the whole time. But if you're running triple support, it gives you a little bit more flexibility with how you play Loki. Number 2, so even if you die, your clones will survive until your enemies destroy them. A lot of the times they will just survive because they don't shoot unless you shoot. So if they happen to still be alive and you're coming in from spawn, you should still shoot with those clones until you get back to the point. Because sometimes enemies will just perfectly be in that trajectory, even through the wall. Or you could even accidentally heal teammates. But there really is no downside in doing this right out of spawn. Number 3. It's important to be strategic with where you place your clones. Sure, you can just place them all right in front of the payload, but that just gives your enemies the ability to shoot them easier. It's honestly better to keep them in awkward positions for your enemies, especially on rooftops. If they're shooting down from the roofs, it means for your enemies to deal with them, they have to look up and not look at you. And more importantly, when you want to teleport and get to safety, you have a clone that's in a much better position, like on the high ground. So while it is important to always have 2 clones up as much as you can, putting them in good spots will keep them alive a lot longer and make you a little bit more annoying, which is the Loki way.
There's like a map for it, yeah.
It's also because like he blends in. This is pay to win skin over here, dude.
Pay to win skin for the Cliptar maps.
Like Loki though, like And there are some matchups where their clone placement super matters. Moon Knight can target these clones and they basically become like an Ankh, which can end up killing your own allies. Winter Soldier can refresh his ultimate if he just kills one of the clones. So even more reason to not keep them too clustered up. Number 4. This is the Loki Ultimate tier list. It's very important to understand that this tier list is not a tier list of how good these characters are or how good these ultimates are in a vacuum. It's specifically how good they are for Loki to copy. So one of the most important things to understand as a Loki main is that when you're using this ultimate, you're not healing your team. So the longer the ultimate lasts, the worse it actually is for Loki. A lot of the longer or weaker ultimates are going to be in the not worth it category. And sorry, Rocket fans, like objectively probably one of the worst ultimates to steal from. So many better options than Rocket's ultimate. Rocket's ultimate is just like not the play. There are niche scenarios where you would want to use some of the more niche ultimates that I put here. It's more map and matchup specific. When it comes to the OK ultimates, that's more a preference of how good you are with these individual characters because you still want to get some value outside of just their ultimate. But I think as long as you get any of the ultimates that are in the strong ultimates, you're going to get value, especially with the support ultimates. The support ultimates will save your team, and you're doing what a strategist does best. This is not definitive. You can easily get value with a bunch of these ultimates that are in the lower tiers. I just think that the quicker you can get value out of the ultimate, or the easier the ultimate is to actually land, the better. And when in doubt, just take a support ultimate out. I'm prepared to get roasted. Overall, Loki is a very unique take on the strategist role. It's kind of cool that they made someone as evil and mischievous as Loki into a support role that is actually very fitting for his character. But how is he for noobs? For noobs, I would honestly say that he is medium difficulty to play. I do think it's very important on where you place them and when to use their abilities, because a good Loki could never die, and a bad Loki will always be dead. It feels like his cooldowns in particular are very, very important to know when and where to use them. But what do you think? Do you think Loki is easy to play or hard to play? Do you think he's underpowered and needs buffs or overpowered and needs nerfs? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm so glad I finally was able to make a Marvel Rivals video that wasn't just one of the new heroes, and I'm sorry that it took so long, but I hope you enjoyed. And as usual, let me know which hero you want me to make next in the comments down below. Type that hero for noobs. I genuinely want to know what people want next. But yeah, I gotta go run away from macro primes, so I'll catch you later. Ya noob.